Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 324 to 325 for the 13th to 14th of January 2023 for the Ukraine war and a special military operation in Ukraine. Let's start off with Russia. Russia have officially recognized the Wagner private military contractors. This is the first time ever that the Russian Defense Ministry actually acknowledges the presence of Wagner private military contractors in Ukraine. So this is actually something interesting, and this is actually due to tremendous pressure from the media, from the people, the people of Russia, and the OSINT community. Everyone is unhappy because there's so many photos of the Wagner group fighting in Soledar that all the media starting to ask the Russian government about the composition and the participation of the various units within the Russian group that was participating in the so-called liberation of Soledar. And the Russian Defense Ministry, as per what I did mention in the last summary, that they emphasize that this is actually a combined arms grouping of Russian troops, forces, emphasizing with the bracket that there are actually a number of forces. They did not want to name Wagner out clearly, and however then they add on about the flanking of the north and the south, and then they finally clarify that Soledar's urban area assault is completed by the Wagner private military company. So this is the first ever time that the Wagner private military contractors is now acknowledged to be part of the Ukraine war. So yeah, this is makes a lot of people very happy and relieved. At the same time, some people very uncomfortable. What is key is that there is so much pressure, so much attention within Russia given to the special military operation in Ukraine, that the Russian Defense Ministry had no choice but to admit to the reality and the truth. This is unprecedented. It never really happened in Russia before in this kind of way, and this also helped to dispel a bit of those detractors for the pro-Russian side, where they say that the Russian civilians are not interested in the war, they're going to demoralize. This actually proved that the Russian population actually have a lot of interest and backing for the special military operation. So the Ukraine war is definitely going to continue because they have popular support. The Kiev, according to the Ukrainian armed forces, reported that in the morning of the 14th, they got struck by S-400 or S-300 anti-aircraft guided missiles from the north. So this time around, the Russians no longer just fires with S-300. They now also fire with S-400 to attack the capital. And then over at Dnipro, there is a missile strike that hits a civilian building that have some big hoo-ha. So it's geolocated exactly at this spot, just along the coast, the river. And so there is a follower of the DPA channel, Alex. He's also a Patreon, and he had a new channel. And in his new channel, he go into details on the latest information there is of this missile strike. I'll put the link in the description below, as well as at the end of this video. Do check it out. I think you might find it interesting. The footages I cannot show, so you can actually see it there. If not, I will get me demonetized. Over at the northern front, which is still not yet a front, there is Ukrainian forces, the Ukrainian columns being spotted in two different locations. One is at Mezhenivka. According to Ryba, the pro-Russian source, over on the 13th, they say that the columns of significant numbers of armored vehicles of the Ukrainian armed forces passed through the settlement at Mezhenivka, as well as at another settlement here just south of Konotop at Pidline. So Pidline is here, so I don't think they went through the small roads. It's probably go through the highway. They just pass by Pidline, and they spotted a significant number of armored vehicles as well. So it's unclear whether they are going north or they are going south. According to Raiba, they assess that it's actually going towards Soledar direction. It's actually a redeployment of the northern forces to the Soledar Bakhmut region. And so moving on to the southern front, we have no information over in the southern front. Just to add, the other day we talked about the ships coming out from Novorossiysk, the naval base in Russia. Is the missile strikes over the past 24 hours does seems to corroborate that these ships that came out from the port is actually to participate in this missile strike, along with the bombers, the strategic bombers from the inland Russia. Over at the Zaporizhzhia line, we do not have much fighting except at Velika Novosilka, where there is a fighting reported on the 13th, according to War Gonzo, where the Russian forces attacked Velika Novosilka. But it's not reported on the 14th, so that probably failed badly. And then we have a shelling report over at the Dobropilia, where the Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling at Ukrainian positions at Dobropilia. And other than that, we have a lot of reinforcements coming over to the Zaporizhzhia region. The Ukrainians have sent reinforcement to Krychorivka, to Stepov, Tevrivsky, Omelnik, as well as Ihorivka, as well as one more place here at Temerivka. So all this reinforcement, usually, I would have reported it as maybe that the Ukrainians going to prepare for their Zaporizhzhia offensive. However, this time out, I'm going to say a bit different. Due to all the changes in the command structure, as well as the training that have gone way too long for the other half of the partial mobilized troops, I think all these forces are redeployed to the Zaporizhzhia to prepare in a defense operation against a possible Russian offensive. This is why I think there is all this redeployment over to the Zaporizhzhia region. They are probably preparing to against the possible Russian attack into the Zaporizhzhia region. I think this is the reason, rather than the Ukrainians doing their own offensive, which I don't think will be the case, given that they have some problems with Bakhmut. But to have so much troops being redeployed over to the Zaporizhzhia region, especially we have 400 Polish mercenaries over Stapov. You have 4th and 15 battalions, and you have another 108 brigade of the 98 battalion. There's just a lot of troops being redeployed to this area. I feel that this is actually to prepare for the somehow indefeatable Russian offensive. So moving on to the Donetsk front. At the Donetsk front, we have bombardment reported at Preshestivka. There is a Ukrainian attack against Shevchenko in the northern part of Shevchenko. And over at Vodian received some shelling from the Russian forces, and the Ukrainians attack at Novomikhailivka. In the Marinka region, on both days, we have fighting being reported at Marinka as well as Krasnohorivka, reported by either War Gonzo or the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Over at the Pisky region, at Pervomaisky, Nevelsky, at Vodian, as well as Opyne or Opitne, all of these locations have fighting reports being reported. Most of them are being reported by War Gonzo on the 13th, with only Vodian have reported fighting on this day, on yesterday. There is fighting reported at Novobakhmutivka in the New York front. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, This kind of corroborates what I have reported the day in the previous SITREP on the 12th that the Russians did attack in this region. Over in the northern part of the New York front, we have fighting reported near Mayos for both days on the 13th and the 14th. Over at the Bakhmut front, the Russians are reportedly attacking towards Dilievka, according to War Gonzo on the 13th, and on the 30th as well, the War Gonzo also reported the attack towards Prateshne. I think both of this report is kind of like, they're just repeating what the Ukrainian Defense Ministry say. So yeah, so take it with a pinch of salt. Over at Kleshievka, the Russian forces are reportedly trying to take over the settlement. They're still trying to fight. This reported by War Gonzo on the 13th. For the 13th and for the 14th is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry in today's report. On the western side of Opitne, fighting is reported by the Wagner private military contractors as they try to sweep the western outskirts of Opitne, according to Riba, the pro-Russian source. Over at Bakhmut city itself, fighting is reported on the eastern part of Bakhmut, according to War Gonzo, where the Wagner group is currently fighting in this region. This corroborated on the next day's report, in today's report, that yesterday there is fighting reported at Bakhmut. In the northern part of Bakhmut city, there is fighting reported at Pihorodne, near Pihorodne, and there is fighting reported at Paraskovievka on the 13th, and on the 13th also there is fighting reported at Krasnohora, according to War Gonzo. Things seems to be less exciting. This is because we have eliminated the fake information, the fake intel coming out, being propagated or rather shared by AZ Geopolitics. The intel come from Nebrizhne, which is known, at least on DPA's perspective, very bad fake news maker. He make up very convincing fake information intel. It makes the war sounds way more exciting than it actually is, and so which is why this have a huge contrast as compared to the reports coming from over the past week or so. So the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I have been reporting partial fake news because of this Nebrizhne's mapping that was shared by AZ Geopolitics or AZ Military. And now removing it, suddenly things seems a lot more not so exciting, which is actually a good thing, because it's not supposed to be so exciting. It doesn't make sense. The war is slow and hard. People are dying, and no one should really take this like a joke. So over the Soledar region, I mean DPA or on my end, on DPA's perspective, we continue to maintain that Soledar is not captured by the Russian forces, despite the Russian Defense Ministry's report that they have captured. They announced the capture of Soledar on the 13th, or rather on the 12th. But for us, we continue to assert that it's not the case. On the western part of Soledar, is still under control by the Ukrainian forces. However, there is some news for the Russian side where the Wagner private military contractors have completed mopping up or the sweeping of the underground facilities in the western outskirts of the town, which means that the remaining Ukrainian forces is likely to be on the surface, and there is fighting reported at Soledar on yesterday, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. However, it's not going to last very long because it's left a very little part of Soledar, and the Wagner group is still fighting very fiercely over this region, and with both the north and the south under pressure, I don't think the Ukrainians are going to hold here for much longer. Over at STILL, there is fighting reported on the 13th and on the 14th. It's reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry as well as Russian Defense Ministry on the 14th. So now we are in the Sivas front. Over at Rozdolivka, we have reports of fighting on the 13th. However, this is by War Gonzo, and like I said, take it with a pinch of salt. Now we have a lot of supply from Soledar. Because War Gonzo repeats information from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, which doesn't make them a very source kind of reports. But these their daily reports, so I do just share it just in case we miss anything. They also reported fighting over at Sperne as well as at Bilohorivka, according to Wogonzo on the 13th. On the 14th, there is fighting reported at Bilohorivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling at Serebryanka as well as at Ryhorivka. So this location, as you can see, there's a lot of stars already all over this place. It looks like there is probably some significant number of Ukrainian troops over that area to receive this much love from the Russian side. The Ukrainian forces attacked Shepelivka, or at least towards Shepelivka. However, it was spotted by the Russian forces. Probably the fighting is actually within the forested area, because this actually happened before previously, around a month ago, where the Ukrainian forces did try to attack Shepelivka through the forest, but it was stopped by the Russian forces. So somehow there are Russian forces camping around this area, yeah. So anyway, moving on to the Crimea region. The Crimea region, the Ukrainian offensive where I reported there was a pincer attempt from the northeast and the from northwest and the southwest, did not worked out, it seems. Wogonzo reported this 2 days ago. However, no fighting was reported around Crimea as far as my trusted sources reported. But further up north in the Crimea region, we do have a Russian attack over at Sheveno-Popivka, Ploshchanka, as well as at Mykievka. For Mykievka, there is fighting reported on both days, according to Wogonzo and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And that's all from the Crimea front. Moving up to the Sviatove front, the Russians, as usual, continue to attack Semakivka, reported by Wogonzo. And there is a shelling report at Novoselivsky, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. They also shelled Berestove. The Ukrainians continue their attempt to attack in the Kupiansk region, where there is fighting reported at Tabaivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and at Peshotravneve. The Russians also reported shelling near Peshotravneve against the Ukrainian forces that is nearby, but the Ukrainian forces did also do an attack on the 14th, which is yesterday. So that's all from the Kupiansk front. Over at the Kharkiv front, we have some intel of Ukrainian forces operating at Okip as well as at Veterinarne. So these are reportedly special operation forces patrolling the border of the Russian-Ukraine border at Kharkiv. So I think that's it. I think I covered everything. So do check out the video that I'm going to be sharing at the link here. Do subscribe if you have not subscribed. Do press the like button. Do share this with your friends and family, all contacts that might be interested in the war, and I will see you in the next update.